Hello everyone and welcome back to Maple Leaf Reviews. My name is Jeffrey.
And I am Jacob.
And today we're doing a review of Trickerion Legends of Illusion.
Yeah, this was one of our very first videos that we did was of Trickerion. It was a before and after our expectations and first impressions of the game. And now we've played the game enough times that we feel comfortable reviewing it.
Yep. So how many times have you played this game so far?
I believe I'm up to 7 now.
Yeah, and I think I'm at 5 plays. 4 of those plays were with the advanced rules of the game.
Right, yeah.
So the first game we played was the basic beginner, and every game since then has been the advanced variant.
Exactly, yeah.
So let's jump right in without further ado. What do you think of the art and components in this game?
Originally the artwork kind of bothered me of the characters. The character art kind of bothered me a little bit when I first started.
Yeah.
Now I don't even notice it anymore. It doesn't bother me at all.
I was going to say, I spend so much time thinking and thinking very hard that you can't even notice the artwork. You can't even take the 5 seconds to appreciate the art in the game because your mind is going.
Yeah.
But yeah, the art is kind of not my favorite style. But the components are all really good quality. The cards, the tokens, the little Trickerion shards themselves.
Yeah, the board is good.
Yeah. So good components.
Yeah, solid. The only thing I would say about components is the game does not come with a insert.
Yes.
So you're just throwing everything into an empty box.
Yeah, and there's a lot of components.
Yeah, lots of different pieces that some parts you're not using, other parts you are, depending on what expansion you're implementing or not. So there's a whole ton of stuff that you're just like, what's this? Do we need it for this game? No, yes.
Yeah. So setup can be a bit of a beast.
Yes, it is a beast of setup.
So theme. You are magicians putting on these different shows and competing for the most prestige.
Yep, you're up on stage doing these acts. Everyone is kind of working together on stage, so to speak, where all have an act on that stage, and then Jeffrey will be like the main performer or something, and then someone else might be in there as well.
So, do you think the theme comes out in this game?
It can. This last game that we played, I was focusing more on, what act is this that I'm putting together?
Yeah.
But generally speaking, as you mentioned earlier, there's so much going on and so much thought that you're putting into it. You're not worried about the theme. You're trying to figure out what the heck you're going to do this round.
Then that's the same for me. It's engaging my mind mechanically more than thematically. So I don't feel that it comes out as much.
Yeah, I agree.
So rules and teaching.
Well, this one, it's tough because the actions that you're actually taking are fairly simplistic.
Right.
There's not a lot going on there, but it's interactions between them and just how they all flow together. I think it's a little tricky to teach, but I don't know. I'm kind of undecided. What do you think?
I think it's easy to teach someone the mechanics of the game.
And hard to master.
But I think for someone learning the game, it's going to be very hard.
Yeah.
Like the difficulty is with the person learning because they have to take all these mechanics and kind of put them together in their head in a way that they're like, okay, this is how I play the game. Because you can take the actions easily.
Super simple.
But what order do I want to take the actions and which actions do I actually want to take? Yeah. That's the hard part.
Learning your new tricks because there are 48 available tricks to learn and you can basically learn any of them provided you meet the requirements. So it's just like, oh, I'm gonna buy a trick. Well, what one do you want? You have 48 options here. So it's, the first time playing the game, you're gonna be like, oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, so I think you have to kind of steward someone through their first game.
Yeah,
kind of point things out. Hey, you probably want to do this or something like that.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
All right, so on to the meat and potatoes of this.
Yeah.
The gameplay and mechanisms. So I think there's a lot in this game.
There's a lot.
Like we said, it engages your mind so much. So the first thing I want to say is that there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
in this game. You have
so many.
You have to keep on top of, okay, which character am I going to use for what action? Because they have different amount of action points they can spend.
Yeah.
How much money do I have? What resources, components do I have? Which means what tricks can I actually perform? Do I want to perform late or early in the week? There's so many things going on in your mind, and you're trying to optimize it so much. It's just, there's so much happening.
And you're trying to do all that while everyone else is also doing that. Yeah. And you take turns going around placing workers out, because it's a worker placement game. So you're making this plan on, okay, I'm going to send this guy here, but what if 2 other people cut you off and they get there first, and now you don't have enough actions to take that action? What are you going to do?
So you're constantly having to reassess based on other people's actions.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more. You have a plan, that plan gets ruined, and then you have to take all these 10 gears that you have in your mind and kind of switch them and rotate them. Okay, now this is the direction I'm going. Oh crap, now I got to do it all over again because someone took that action.
Yeah, it's definitely a brain burner with how much is going on in the game.
Yeah.
But the worker placement, I love it. You start with 3 workers, potentially 4, and then you can buy new workers that will add to your availability of actions that you can take. But each worker has 1 to 3 points of energy that they can spend at the action location they go to. And each action location has, 1 to 3 points of energy in order to take an action. Right. So if I'm sending my one character who has 1 action point to the downtown location. The downtown location has all its actions that you can take there, or all 3.
All 3.
So if I'm sending a guy with 1 action point, I need to get there early, because the earlier that you arrive, you're given bonus energy to do actions there. So if I'm setting that guy up to go there, he has to go there first.
Or he's not going there at all.
Yeah. Otherwise, he's just not going to be taking actions there. So it's just, oh man, it's so tough.
It is really tough.
So tough.
So speaking on to that, bringing in player interaction for this game, you're constantly having to reassess based on what other people are doing and trying to get the jump on other people in those locations by getting there early. So I definitely feel that there's quite a bit of player interaction in trying to block and making other people take suboptimal plays.
Yeah.
You aren't directly attacking each other necessarily.
That's right.
But it's more of a blocking game.
Yeah, and you can block in so many different ways, just by going to a location first and blocking them, preventing them from getting the bonus energy. With learning the spells, I said there was 48 of them. They're all unique.
Right.
So if someone was building up in their repertoire of items and components to purchase a certain trick, and someone else goes there first and grabs it before them, they're out of luck. They can't learn that trick anymore.
Yeah.
So you can really punish people that way.
Yeah.
In the advanced game, there are special abilities that make you unique as well, and those can have interacting. Like in our last game, I had a card out early game where anytime you took a specific action slot in each of the areas, you had to pay me money.
Yeah.
So if you're playing the advanced game, there's extra stuff in there for interaction as well.
Even more interaction.
Yeah.
So that also... Something else I want to touch on was player count.
Right.
So I've played the majority of the games with 2 player. So in each action location, there's only 2 slots open.
Right.
With 3 players, there's 3 slots open. I think 3 players is probably a better mechanically game, because there's more opportunities for you to kind of double down on different locations. But then going on to the other side, the length of the game, 2 player, 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 hours plus.
That's before the epic crazy setup that we talked about as well.
So it's a balancing act of, is that extra third player and the time that they're going to add worth the mechanical nature of the game. I think the game is good with 2.
Yeah.
So for me, I would probably only play with 2 just to keep it into a more reasonable 2 hours.
Right.
Rather than play with 3 and probably get close to pushing 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I'm always talking about how the length of the game, once it hits like a 90-minute mark, I'm getting tired and done with the game unless it's something that is really grabbing me. This game grabs me. Like our last game was 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I was fully engaged the whole entire time. I would not have a problem playing this 3-4 player. I don't think.
Yeah.
I would actually really like to play it 4 player. I've only played it 3 and 2. And I would like to know what the 4 player is like, where all the action location spots are open.
Yeah, it's something I would like to try, but I
don't think I would do it every time. No,
I don't think so. I think, with how much is going on, even in a 2-player game, it would really melt my brain to constantly be playing
trying to compete with. Yeah, but I think there would be so many extra open slots that it would actually might even be easier.
Maybe.
We'll
have to try it sometime. Well, and you had mentioned the length of the game being, like we said, about 2 hours, hours plus, and not being including the setup, which is significant. Like, you're talking 20 minutes.
Yeah, at least 20 minutes. I'd say 20 to 30 minutes for setup and getting things
if
prepped.
You're setting it up by yourself. If you have multiple people, it'd be quicker. But then there's also kind of this additional...
Pre-game phase.
The pre-game phase. Where you select your magician, you select your special power, you get your like magical powers, like spells that come in the variant that give you bonus abilities. So you're looking through those, you're picking that, and then you
got to pick your trick.
Then you got to pick your trick, and then you got to set up, okay, well, now what kind of goal am I going to go for?
Yeah.
So you're trying to plan your route through what components you're going to get and what tricks you're going to get later.
Yeah.
So that's like the pre-game is another like 15,
and then there's
20 minutes.
Your specialist. Yeah. Because you each get a free specialist to start the game with, and there's 3 of them, which each give you a different unique ability based on if you start the game with them.
Yeah.
So it's like, which one am I going to start with, and how is that going to benefit me with my whole plan for the whole game? And that's like another, what?
It's 15, 20 minutes.
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we have the game set up, and everyone just sits there looking through your reference pamphlet, because it's not a reference card, it's a reference pamphlet, and you're like, okay. And then it's just...
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. So that would probably be... As fun as it is, because it doesn't really bother me because I'm entertained. I'm engaged because I'm figuring out what's happening. It's a strike against the game, though. Yeah. Because it makes it so hard to get to the table.
Right. Definitely. All right. There is one other thing that I kind of want to talk about, and that's the... So in the advanced variant, you have a whole extra section of the game, which is like the dark alley, where you can go get... action cards that have bonus abilities. Plus, there's these prophecies that change like a rule of the game or give some sort of bonus.
Right.
That is not my favorite part of the game. I could probably do away with that because I find it it takes a game that's already complex with so many gears, and then it just throws little gears in here, and then it's just so much to keep track of that I could probably do away with that.
Right. For me, I kind of feel you. For me, I like the little changes here and there. It adds that one extra wheel, and there's so much going on that I'm just like, I love it. I love it. There's, I forgot about this little thing. I need to like incorporate that into my plan for the turn.
Yeah,
but it is overwhelming, and I don't think you would lose a lot by just taking that part out.
No, and especially
just the rule changes.
Yeah, that in combination with your own special powers that you kind of get dealt out to you.
Yeah,
like. Sometimes you can just get them to line up really, really well, and the other person might not get as great a ones, and then it's just kind of compounds plus with the prophecies, how they work out. Like the last game, they were always working out in your favor, and I kept having to like spend action points, which are precious, to kind of just make it not work out in your favor.
Right.
So it just adds that little bit of randomness that I don't want thrown into my gears.
Right. I would say those rule changes could be omitted. The actual action cards that you're purchasing, I like those.
Yeah.
Because you're purchasing additional action cards so that you can send workers to these different action locations, and they either get a bonus action point there, or they get a special ability, which is overpowered.
Yeah.
And they're all overpowered, ridiculous, really cool stuff. But I find that, well, I'll get to it later.
Okay. Well, that's all I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So
Okay, so there's so much going on, and there's so many unique special powers on all these bonus cards that you get to by going to the Dark Alley. All these special powers that everyone has on the side in the advanced game, where you're putting out these power cards. You can have up to 4 of them in play at a time, and they give you crazy powers. With all this stuff, and each of the 48 unique spells, or acts, I should say, tricks, that they're all different from one another, cost different resources and everything, the game feels balanced to me.
Okay.
I feel like the game is very balanced. It's always a very close game, no matter what path you take to try and win the game. Everyone else is right there, right behind you.
Right.
And I feel like it's balanced. Even though everything is there's like overpowered stuff here, overpowered stuff there, it just kind of balances itself out.
Yeah, I think the balance is pretty good. I'm not going to say it's like a perfectly balanced game. Sometimes someone can draft a lot of those really good cards, not draft, but just get handed a lot.
Right.
And then because there are so many spells, if they get, like you had one that lined up with one of the in-game scoring cards, so you're like, oh, I have this and I have that and I can double down on this. There's no way that I would know that, so I can't kind of block you. So you could basically choose and get that trick. So I mean, I think it's balanced, but I think there can be occasionally some imbalance.
Okay.
In the game. But I think with all that stuff going on, I think that it just increases the replayability.
Exactly, yeah.
You get a lot of different stuff. Every game is going to be different.
Yeah, the replayability in this game is crazy. Like those special cards that we were just talking about, you get 12 of them. And I think there are probably 60 to 80 different ones that you can have. So the different combinations that you're going to get in there for those powers and how you use them. And you're only ever having 4 in play at most at a time, but you always have 12. So even if you get a couple ones that aren't working for you, you're going to get some that are working for you, and you can choose how you want to combo them together.
Right. I think drafting those cards would be an even better way to play.
Yeah, it could be an option. We should try it.
Yep. So anything else you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I could talk for another hour on this, but I think we'll leave it at that.
All right, so on to the final rating. I'm going to give this game an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I think,
solid.
It's a solid, good game. The only thing that's holding it back is the length, is the setup time.
Yep.
Really, that's what holds it back for me from being like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm the exact same, except I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
And the only thing holding it back is that setup.
From being a 10.
From being a 10.
Wow.
The only thing holding it back is that setup.
Yeah.
And the length of play, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you got to incorporate that whole setup, the pregame, and then the game. So our game actually took probably about 3 hours, 2 players. Right? And that's a long game. So I got to knock it down a notch for that.
Okay. All right. Well, that's Trickerion, Legends of Illusion.
Yeah. If that sounded interesting, we recommend that you check it out.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Follow us on Twitter at MeepleLeaf, and go to the section down below in the description and go to our board game links and give us some sweethearts because we love them.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Take care.